All right, cool. Obviously, I'm super thankful you're awake and here, sharing your time with me. Thank you. It's the biggest gift I could have gotten. All right, so the thing is, the motto is always try to get more people onto VR chat. And what I'm thinking, what I was thinking, was getting more kind of like first-person interviews or like, interactions with the people who actually make the events. The people who actually kind of like, make everything possible. And who better than another than Skoot, who makes it all possible. More better said, I think I was kind of like obviously looking for your guidance and your help because this whole spectrum a lot more than I do. I just kind of got into this thing 2020 into VR chat, but into the rave scene just I think a year ago. So what we'll be doing is kind of just going through questions about how you got into it yourself, what ministry is, how you ended up creating ministry. I'm actually really curious to know about how your childhood, how it ended up going from playing probably Nintendo to GameCube, Xbox, PlayStation to this, it's pretty crazy, at least for me. And then we'll end at do you think aliens are real? And then we'll chat about how to access chat raves. It should be in less than 40-30 minutes, and we'll be closing by the end of the hour. Deal? Yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, I don't know why I'm a little bit nervous about this, but let's do this. All right, so I'm gonna just speak to the audience here. Hello, everybody, with my broken hand here. To the right of me, I have Skoot. To the left of you, Gaming Skoot here on VR Chat. Say hello, Skoot.
Hi.
Skoot is what I would call a project developer, manager, kind of like logistics, and Skoot runs what is kind of like a group that does promotion and does logistics for dancers, DJs, as well as events, collaborations and stuff like that. So I'll start off kind of with the first question. How are you today?
The most important one. I'm well. How are you?
Good. Like I said, thank you for being here. How VRC? How did it all happen? VR chat. First off, I know it's a big question.
My entry to VR chat.
Yeah, starting from just there.
So way back, I love Elder Scrolls, and I'm at one point before VR was really much a thing. I don't even think it was on Steam yet for Fallout or Skyrim, but. I don't know if anyone's heard of Trinus VR, but I used to do a lot of sales and stuff with smartphones, and the Galaxy S7 had the Gear S2, and one night I just really got into it because I like to tinker with computers and stuff, so I got this program called Trinus VR, which you can use to screen capture your computer onto your phone and then put a filter so it does the VR thing, and then you can select the type of headset, which was Gear VR, and so I kind of invented Skyrim VR with a controller, and unrelated to later ambitions, but when Skyrim VR came out, I really wanted it, and so I got a Rift CV1 off of some guy on Facebook who was super cool. And he liked it, but he had his kids and whatnot in his life and blah blah blah, and he didn't really have time for VR, and he wasn't much a gamer. So after I got over the craze and growing pains of pool noodle swords and offset sights and shooters, free games, right? So I found VR chat, and the first few times it was just memes, so I didn't really think much of it. Yeah, it was just black cats and great pugs. But one time
everyone starts there.
A friend of mine who used to be on Second Life a lot, I never got into it. I logged in twice to try it out, but it just wasn't for me, too uncanny. I know how deep the RP communities can go, for better or for worse. And being the stickler that I am, I set out one day and I was like, there's gonna be some dark side to this. I wanna go find that. So I started world hopping, asking strangers like, hey, where's the dark side of the internet? Ooh. And that led me to a Void Club where I met Captain Sean, who was an avatar creator. He was flying around in an avatar, and this is when SDK2 is just really getting its bearings, so, in terms of avatar stuff. And he was like, oh, you want a flying avatar? I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, well, I haven't released this yet, so don't give it out. And then he gave me my OG, which I can't change into because it's gone now, but it had the horns and the wings. And then I met my friend Zay June, and we were playing Pong at Void, and I asked them the same question. And they brought me to a club called Alcoholics Unanimous, which was my first club. And when I first got in, there was 40 to 50 people in the instance, and they all wanted to talk to me for no other reason than I was a new face. That was it. I was a new user, and they were like, what? Tell us about you. And at one point during the night, everyone started freaking out, like, oh, you're a user. At the time, I didn't know that there's visitor ranks, new user, known user, trusted. So to me, it was like, yeah, I logged in, I'm a user, ooh. But they were like, no, you don't understand it. You were a visitor when you got here, now you're a user. And I guess the engagement I got in that lobby was enough to get me up to from visitor to user. But yeah, from all the love that I got from that, and I saw the immediate sense of community, I was hooked, and I never wanted to leave.
That's crazy. So you went from absolutely just playing VR on a cell phone, and eventually just going on to being a ranked user in this what is now like a virtual world.
Say again?
You went from just playing on your cell phone, like playing VR on your cell phone, what would have been just the craziest technology at that time, to now being a ranked user in what is today's VR space. I was actually going to ask you, because you spoke about SDK as well. I had to learn about what an SDK was on VR chat. Could you explain that in just baby terms, like what is an SDK and what?
Yeah.
VR chat
so, it's kind of like if you've ever done modding before. For something like Skyrim or Minecraft or whatever, there's a build kit that you typically get from either the Steam store or the developers, whatever game we're talking about. In VR Chat's case, it's apples and oranges, but for those, like you just said, that don't really know the difference, it's kind of just like a content kit where you can... it stands for... how do I simplify that? The SDK is basically the software development kit version that VRChat gives you to make avatars and worlds. And so with SDK2, there were a lot less features. With SDK3, at least for worlds, I think that's when we got Udon. Sometime during SDK2, and I'm not the person to talk to about this. I'm not like into Unity or anything like that. But at one point, there were no video players. We could only play music through our microphones. And then when the SDK got updated, we were able to have video players and an audio link and shaders that interacted with it, so the world would be interactive. So that's why I pointed out that it was SDK2, because that avatar was atlased in such a way that if you uploaded it now, it would be a very poor, but back then it was considered green. Not because it was like super, not done well, it was just a different type of build and topology for the avatar. I probably didn't help anyone understand anything better with that explanation.
No, I think that was good. I mean, I think there's people who love that layer of video gaming, and people who just consume, the game itself. So I'm pretty...
Yeah, being able to make your own version of you and your own stuff inside of it is really powerful, and I think that's what hooks a lot of people.
And it's expensive, so if people want to get into it, they're going to earn a good buck, because I've paid...
Yeah, it's the most expensive free-to-play game.
Yeah, exactly. Which leads me to, VR chat being such a big space, both, I guess, data-wise, computer-wise, and social-wise. What led you to creating Ministry? How did Ministry come apart, come together from little building blocks to what it is today, the empire?
So Ministry actually happened on accident. The way it started, when I was with AU, as I already explained, I fell in love with the hospitality that they were willing to give to users. It made me feel very warm and I never wanted to leave, blah, blah, blah. But when I eventually tried out hosting events and whatnot with them, I saw how easy it is to take someone who's a new user and introduce them to things that they'll enjoy. And I was addicted to it immediately. All I wanted to do was get as many people to have that same good time that I had. And over the time that passed, I became a moderator and then an event manager, and there were titles and blah, 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 blah. So I got with AU either late 2018 or early 2019, and spent a few years with them. For anyone who might know what the VRU is, or the Oasis, or Castle, I at one point ended up signing on with him as a community manager, and for unrelated reasons, I love AU, AU loves me, we're all homies, I ended up leaving AU. Unrelated. It was just time. And AU was a club, and the Oasis is more of a hub, so I kind of had a little bit of culture shock because I was doing 6 to 9 events for AU with my own little sub-team that I built, and that's just one club. And then with Castle, I was working with 12 clubs, but I wasn't managing any events because they had everything they needed, they did it themselves, we were just helping them promote and put things where it needed to go. And so to kind of help me deal with that culture shock, because I kind of ended up with a little bit of imposter syndrome, my friend Atcom, who's now the owner of Luxor, me and him were looking for an excuse to do something together for a while. And so the idea was, I asked Castle if I could do a collab with them, as I was originally going to do with them in AU. And the idea was one Saturday we were going to do a double, and the following Saturday we were going to do a double. So the first week we were at Luxor Beach, which is this really cool, and all their worlds are quest compatible, it's awesome. We were at this really cool beach area with a stage, and at this point in my life I didn't think about dancing. I didn't want dancers or to dance or anything like that. It's not that I was anti-dancer, it wasn't something that was on my radar at all. But you look at that stage with a DJ on it and you can't help but be like, there should be a dancer there and there. So I was already a fish out of water and didn't really know what I was doing, and I was very nervous. So I said, why not wing it? We'll just try to get some dancers. And so I asked my friend Spooky and a few other people. Spooky was really helpful. Hey, if you know any dancers, let me know. And that's where we actually met Cherry, who's basically, if I'm not in the room, the team is hers. She's been very instrumental, and she's been here literally since day one. But we got the event going, and it went well. I made a group chat with all the dancers and DJs, which failed immediately because you can only fit 10 people in it, and so I made a server. The event went well, and at the end of the event, some of the dancers said, hey, we know you don't usually do this, but we had fun, so if you do it again, please give us a call. So I said, all right, sick. And I nuked the server, made a new one that wasn't as gross and a little bit more organized. And the following week, we went to the Oasis, where we're outside at the truck venue leading into the Zombie Doll Lounge, and it went very well. So we kept kind of doing events like that. The server originally said in the welcome, like, hey, if you're here, it's because I personally invited you. We've worked on stuff together in the past, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what we're doing, but we're going to do something. And so I just kept doing events like that. And when dancers have fun, they tell their friends, and that usually means more dancers. So we ended up with way more dancers than we had events. I think we had like 25 or 30 dancers at one point, and I didn't have a place to put them. I didn't know what to do. So I locked up the server, and we just kind of got more events and then more dancers and whatnot. And as someone who wasn't a dancer, I am athletic. IRL, I like to go to the skate park. I do a lot of stuff like that. But so I'm good at like jumping high, falling, smashing into pavements. You would think that would give me an edge, but the funny thing about dancing is it's a lot of smooth, soft, delicate movements. Even when you're like doing hard style stuff, it's a very different type of athleticism. So I still started from square one. To this day, I'll pull muscles all over my stomach just from doing a little hip thing if I don't stretch. But anyways, there were days where we'd have more dancers than we needed. There were other days where I would just be dancing for 4 hours by myself. And that kind of really showed me what the whole, whether you're an experienced dancer, whether you've never danced before, how daunting it can still be to walk up to that platform, but also how safe it can feel once you're up there. And so I ended up with a lot more relationships with more and more dancers. Because of AU and hosting events with them, working with DJs kind of just came as second nature, so I didn't think too much about it. There's really not much I can say there. But over time, we ended up just getting more and more events, and we eventually developed our leadership structure. And because, again, nothing bad happened with AU. I love AU, but my heart was so into that. And so when I left, I mean, you couldn't pay me to run a club again, or be management for a club or anything like that. It's just, my heart doesn't want to do it, right? Like, I didn't have a bad experience, but it's just not something I can do. So I knew I wanted to promote events. I wanted to help people get DJs, dancers, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to create as many opportunities as possible for new users to show up to the scene and have a reason to stick around, something productive to enjoy. My favorite thing about VR is seeing people grow. I've seen people, unmute and find their voice. I've seen people with, no athleticism walk away as literal athletes, doing gymnastics. Wow. I've seen people with no skills, IRL, show up and walk away from VR as programmers. I could go on about that for hours, so I won't. But anyways, I wanted to promote. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to promote, and when I was at AU, the event managers, it was kind of like a step down from admin. Outside of the server, you were basically the admin. You were the person who was setting up events, talking to other clubs, doing collabs. If there was a DJ or a brand getting involved, you'd manage, what they needed logistically. And so because of the whole goth thing, I was the minister of cheers. And that was fun because there was a lot of lore on that. Yeah, and there was a lot of people a lot of people think that like the drinking scene overshadows a lot of VR. It really doesn't. When you look at anything for something, you're only going to find that. And that goes for any walk of the internet. Everything's a bubble algo, right? Right. But I used it a lot because a lot of people were like, oh, I love alcohol, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, if you love it so much, you got to drink water and go to sleep. And they're like, no, only booze. No, because if you like drinking so much, if you don't drink water and you don't sleep, you're not going to make it past 50, bud. Don't you like drinking? Don't you want to drink until you're 80? That's 30 years of drinking. You know what? And so it's just stupid stuff like that.
Water at home because I would tell my real life friends, like, you need to drink some water. But I took that from VRC. I didn't do that in real life before until then.
Yeah, water is important. Regardless of if you're drinking, dancing, or sitting on your butt, just please drink water. Yeah. But anyways, I'm digressing. So I knew that I didn't want to do the club thing, and I didn't know what to name it. Again, this was just all winging it, so I figured, ministry promotions. And at that point, the lore just started falling into place. We had all of our stuff. We never set out with a plan, and I think that's the reason why we had a lot of success, because even though we have a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of VR or different parts of the world, different demographics, different political opinions, when we're at the event together, we're shoulder to shoulder. We're not facing each other, we're facing forward. So even if we have disagreements, we all agree we want the event to do well, we all agree we want to have a good time, and we all agree that we want new users to, have something to, be a magnet for them. And so without trying, the differences get set aside and we get to linearly look forward, again, shoulder to shoulder instead of face to face. So that's how Ministry came to be. It was a total accident. In terms of making Ministry, the actions weren't, but the end result was. And here we are.
Wow. And it's crazy because you started just basically right after the whole Uganda Knuckles thing in VR chat. And then just right after that, Ministry came together, which is crazy. But I had 4 main good questions spring up out of that, and we're not going to be able to go through them all, unfortunately, because there's a direction we're going to. But the 2 main good ones that come out was, what are some of the hardest times that you went through, specifically with like managing different cultured people, because that is very, very difficult. There's people who go to university for that, just to like be an HR department guy, you know what I mean? And you're doing that with people all around the world, like every day. It's crazy. And what is your best video you've had from those times?
How do I nutshell that? So I don't know what I could consider the most difficult time, because apples and oranges, right? Like we've had people show up and do some really disgusting things between either age demographic or self-view and identity, and moderating that can get difficult, especially if it's on the dance floor in the middle of an event and there's like an IRL fundraiser attached to it. There's people who aren't from VR who already don't take VR seriously. Now they're looking at this happening on the floor. That kind of stuff you kind of want to keep to the side and handle it properly. And you know, if people don't want to play ball, go cool off for an hour, kick them from the instance. But that's tough because I really don't know the best way to answer that. So you'll have people from IRL venues, right? Like they run events IRL, whether a DJ, a promoter, a producer, whatever, and they do know what they're talking about, 100%. But when they come into VR, what they do doesn't work. And they oftentimes, if this were to happen IRL, it would be proper to go onto social media and say, hey, at the people who were supposed to help, this was the objective, blah, blah, blah. The people we're working for, the crowd needs to know, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, that's not the case in VR, so it becomes a drama dump, and it's trying to explain that to people who've been doing whatever they've been doing for 10 to 15 years is difficult. We have game developers who make beautiful venues, but again, they're not promoters, they're not event runners, IRL, they don't do any of that, so they'll make this breathtaking experience that's like a gymnasium with like a stage 90 feet in the air or something, and it's sick, but like there's no crowd like retainment mentality built into it at all. There's no zoning. I guess the most difficult thing is when you have people... Okay, so Germans, mad German homies, and they will all attest to this. So going from English, from German to English, as things translate, when typing, sometimes native German speakers who learned English might come off rude or confrontational because of the way the grammar is structured. And so someone who's unaware of that might be texting them and feel like, oh man, I'm getting some real rough edges here. And then they meet the person, you know, in the pixels, and they're like, oh, hey, how you going? Blah, blah, blah. I'm so happy to see you. Thank you for your time. And it's kind of like a splash of cold water. So little nuances like that can be a challenge. But I guess the most challenging thing is when you have someone who's been doing something for more than a year and they just somehow forget that they need to be green, whether we're talking about in VR or outside of VR. And that goes to like anything with like corporate IT or sales or any of the marketing I've done IRL, which I'm not going to digress into. But regardless of what we're talking about, big or small, corporate, you know, grassroots, VR, IRL, you know, events, games, whatever we're talking about, if somebody knows better, you can't tell them they don't. And so a lot of the times you need to give that to them and let them have that while also kind of like putting up blockades. So even though they're happy and they're confident, they're only going to walk down a certain path of thought process so you can still guide them to the goal they've tasked you with giving them. Is that kind of word soupy, but hopefully that makes sense?
Oh yeah, it makes sense. Power dynamic, it's the type of thing. And it makes sense too because...
time zones. No, the hardest thing is getting people to use timestamps. People will have been running events for 4 years and they still don't use timestamps, but they know what they are. And for those who don't know, a Unix timestamp is a Unix converter. It goes against the publish date in the 80s of Unix, so that gets put against the clock on your computer. So if I'm in Massachusetts on the East Coast and you're in California on the West Coast, for you it's 6 o'clock, for me it's 9 o'clock. If I put a timestamp for 9:30, it's going to auto convert for you at 6:30. It saves a lot of people a lot of trouble, and it saves a lot of time with setting things up. But that's the hardest thing, is trying to get people to use that.
That's actually circles me back to one of the last questions I didn't want to leave behind. Good thing you brought that back. It was before I lose it. Oh yeah, for DJs, dancers, event managers, and even people that are trying to become just like you, getting your shoes. What advice do you have for them?
Be patient and understand that At the end of the day, nobody here is shit. Not a soul. You'll see servers with thousands of users, and often they'll have 1,000 users online a night. There'll be a very popular Discord. They'll have ads and worlds all over the place. There'll be a talking point at many parties, and then they make a ping, and that ping will get them 15 people out of 80. And in my opinion, the reason that happens is when people hit that 80 cap that we're forced to for a single instance, well, you can't go any farther, so you did the big thing. And someone having a few drinks telling jokes is enough to fill a lobby. Having a cool DJ could fill your lobby. Both of those things could keep your lobby not filled. If you can get 15 to 30 people consecutively to show up to your event and have a good time, those are the events where people are going to remember that good time. They're going to want to come back. They're going to identify with your brand or your community or your whatever. And then when you do the like anniversary or the 80s night or the themed thing, that's when you're going to have a proper 80s stack, right? Because once you hit that limit, if your event's popular enough, people don't want to leave. So you might have 200, 300 visits a night, but only 120 of those are unique. As to where if you have 50 to 70 people rotating, you might have, you know, hundreds of unique visits because people are getting in and out. At that point, you want to figure out which do you want. Are you building your community to be a community? In that case, you shouldn't worry about numbers too much. Are you trying to get a sponsor to get, you know, engagement through your event? At that point, you don't want to cap at 80 because again, you're going to lock that up and you're not going to get those unique visits. So if you're trying to get started, just remember that there are people here who pay their bills and own 2 houses because IRL, they've done events or record deal, blah, 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 and they don't know what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing, and they're still learning. Nobody does. If you want to start doing events in VR, just send it, be patient, stay green, and understand that you're just as capable as that person who's been working with Snoop Dogg or something.
Oh yeah, some of the videos, because I'll be like looking them up and editing them in later on, but some of the videos that you thought were like the best highlights of like your best work or the best times for the ministry.
For me in ministry?
Yeah.
And I'm going to send this to you right now. I would say our entertainment video. What I really like about that video is, so
got it.
I was born in 92. So I remember the MTV video wake-ups. I understand, you know, the skate park sticker slap culture, ambiguity is the best promoter, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so with a lot of our videos like that, we try to not have a direct story being told, but subliminal stuff that if you're looking for it, you'll find. I'm not gonna make too many friends saying this, but right now a lot of people are arguing about, I should get paid for my work in my venue, I should get paid for my DJ set, they should get paid for this, paid. Where I personally hear it the least is with dancers. I'm not saying people shouldn't get paid. Once we have 500,000 to 1 million users on VR chat, I think a lot of people are going to start making good money and for the right reasons. But a DJ, their equipment's very expensive. And event runners or world creators, their skills, you know, IRL, like the reason why, in my opinion, Meta failed is, like, if Zuck doesn't have enough money to throw at it, neither do you, because you're not going to be able to pay for that 18 hours Castle puts in because he's enjoying working on the Oasis. He will give you a AAA product and say, use it for free because I love it. If you want to pay for a Castle IRL, you're going to get 3 people and you're going to be paying them each at least $70,000 a year. It's just not going to happen. Anyways, I'm digressing. So this video points at dancers because, in my experience, the people least likely to demand something and are just like, ooh, woo, can I be involved, are dancers. The people who are most likely to catch a real life injury and put themselves out of work because they snapped something in their knee, twisted their ankle, screwed up their wrist, it's a dancer. And the person who's most likely to kick their computer, punch a monitor, snap a tracker that's, you know, $130 or damage a headset that's $500, it's a dancer. And the number one demographic that I've ever heard, oh, I don't want to work with them, it might be drama, or there's too much logistics involved, it's too much to keep up with, it's dancers. And so your entertainment video points at, you know, struggles of being a dancer. You know, you get scolded by dance leads who have ego. You have to sift through that to find the leads that are worth following because they're going to teach you and be kind and patient. You're going to break equipment that's really expensive that you might not have the ability to replace right away because, again, it's expensive. But at the end of the day, these people who are going through these motions and risking their body and their equipment, they create these filled lobbies, and then you see showcasings of those lobbies, and then you see there's some IRL videos popped in there. Focus Entertainment, Focus is a good friend of mine. We bicker like an old married couple, and you will see that happen if you're around us, but I love him to death, and he's one of the best event runners I've ever worked with, but he does corporate events IRL, and some of his footage from one of the raves he did is in there. I really like that video because a lot of the community came together to help it, to populate, to act, to dance, and it points to one of the most important things in VR that a lot of people forget, and we are a small niche place. It doesn't matter what celebrity shows up. There's less than 100,000 users concurrently. At any day, VR chat could disappear and we have nowhere to go. So we need to love each other and we need to be supportive of each other's projects, even if they're stupid. If we think that it's not going to work, okay, cool. Let someone fail 6 times so they can learn the lesson and still help them. Don't include yourself, become exclusive. Just that video. Also, I sent you the video. It's not the one with they did with Snoop, but they're called PKCZ, and I'm not going to explain too much because I'm just regurgitating what Lun explained, but these guys, I guess, started doing stuff, something with VCAT. You'd have to go check for yourself, but something to do with VCAT, and this is a video of them now rapping with Method Man. So, for other 90s people, Method Man.
Method Man. What's it called?
Yeah.
Wow. I have so many more questions, but we're getting closer to the ending, so I'm gonna wrap it up with I forgot the last question I had for you. This question regarding oh, that's right, the dancers. I'm a little shocked overall. I'm gonna admit, because at the surface it seems like I'll be the in guy, right, for the rave things. I feel like I'm the only guy posting what it is to be really raving on VRC on YouTube, and there's way more people actually doing like the underground work, doing like the heavy lifting, and I'm shocked because it's a lot. And you're right, there's a lot that goes into, like, OSHA's not looking into this. There's no like health or safety thing to like people breaking their ankle and shit. But
Yep.
And people aren't getting paid for it. So
we have injuries every week.
Are you every week? And what do they do? Who
Well, I mean, we have a lot of dancers. Every week somebody pulls something and needs to take a break or smashes a tracker. It's just ratio. It's not because like, ooh, it's so bad over here. It's just we have so many dancers from so many teams because ministry's not exclusive. It's not like you're a ministry dancer, dance for us and only us. No, we have dancers from when Solwell was still a thing, from Ascension, from Hysteria, from we have literally from, like, I just don't want to start name dropping a bunch of people, but you know, we have homies from New Eden. They're way more structured than us, but it's good for them because they get that stage presence, but they only have to sign up and come have fun. It's go-go. We have people from the breakdancing community that came over from the Faceless. We have, so there's a lot of people from a lot of different walks. So for us, it's a little easier to find injuries and broken stuff. It's just because there's more motion. It's not because there's actually anything different. We just have more people.
That's insane. That's, like I said, it's a whole entire big old space that a lot of people don't really see, especially the people who are just coming in to get drunk and be like, oh yeah, in the crowd, you know what I mean?
And before we move on from that topic, be wary of the media you see. I think it was HBO. I didn't watch the whole thing. I didn't want to, but was it How We Met in VR? I don't remember, but there was this very recent high production documentary that happened, and a lot of them were furries, which I point out because people in the eventscape of VR know the furry scene for 2 things: being a very capable technological demographic when it comes to working on avatars, worlds, technology, and also being a very inclusive environment. Somehow this documentary grabbed a ton of furries that didn't have Visemes, had no animations. They had the very rudimentary, like, I don't want to use the word cringe, but they, in my opinion, it missed a lot. And it didn't make the scene look bad or anything, but I think it was a pretty strong misrepresentation, and if they had put some more feelers in, they could have made the same documentary the same way, but really done a better job capturing some of those nuances they were trying to point at. So definitely be careful. And for some stupid reason on Twitter, people will get 15,000 engagements because of a screenshot of some nameless person being toxic to someone else who's nameless, but a fundraiser that raises $5,000 for people to have clean running water gets like 500 to 1,500.
Yeah,
so be careful watching the media of VR when making an opinion. This is not a toxic place. It is the internet. There's toxicity, but it's not inherently any more toxic than anywhere else. This is a beautiful place. Just be careful with the media you watch. Don't let it give you a narrative. Come here, put on the headset, make your own.
Yeah, so I want to say, please be careful with like what you watch on VR chat, because it's just, you get dumb stuff. You just get dumb stuff left and right. So we're the real community, like VRC is what I usually see that. We're the real normal people. So just come join us whenever you're ready. So this leads me to we're in the last 10 minutes. So we want to know you a little bit better. Starting with, what's your favorite color?
Green.
What's your zodiac sign?
Green, purple, black. What's what?
Your zodiac sign.
Say again?
Your zodiac sign. When were you like? Are you like Pisces?
I think I'm a Cancer.
Cancer. All right. I'm a Aries. I don't really know any of that stuff.
June 27th.
Oh, what is a Cancer?
I think I'm Cancer.
Can they fly?
Something about Gatorade.
Exactly. That's funny. And then, do you believe in ghosts or aliens? Do you think they're real?
Yeah. We don't have time, so I won't give a bunch of stuff, but
You have a lot of stuff. You have a lot of paranormal
generally, the word ghosts, I'll just say yes. And aliens, I'll just say, we'll just say yes. Just without going into
I feel like you've had like things happen. You've been abducted before. Don't lie.
I don't think I've been abducted, but I think there's a long discussion that needs to be had about astral projection before we, that's a whole nother thing.
No, I swear I've done that before.
How to discredit yourself in an interview in 2 minutes or less.
That's great. Well, that's basically most of the little what are the little chattery things that people want to talk about nowadays. Where do you like shopping? You like Ross? You like Walmart? I don't know. I'm a Target guy. I like working Target. I like H&M.
Well, I'm from Massachusetts. I'm in New England, and
okay.
I like Market Basket. It used to be called the Molas back in the day. Anyone from the area is gonna pog out for me talking about this, but I can get a first cut steak for like $3 to $4. It's a real steak. It's a prime cut because, that's a first cut. It's only going to stay fresh for long. They keep the price low to make sure it sells. Obviously, it's not like the Flaming Young or anything. We have really fair prices on milk and eggs and whatnot from the local markets all across. At one point, the shareholders or whatever, the board people wanted to remove bonuses because they do really good. Like, you go there, you're not going to make much money. You're a bagger. But if you stay there for 15 years, you'll be better off than someone with a corporate pension. Like, Market Basket takes amazing care of their people. And some of you might remember, whether you're from here or not, on the news that they ousted one of the chair guys, one of the OG family members of the company, because they were like, nah, we're not cutting bonuses from people, forget that. And so they kicked them out, and the entire company stopped. trucks all over the country stopped delivering out of protest. And then it was so bad that the other places like Hannaford's and Shaw's in my area and several others were like, hey, we developed a special application. If you're an employee of Market Basket, you can come shop with us. We're obviously going to have an influx of customers and shop. You can come work with us, and there will be, you know, once Market Basket's all done with their nonsense, you can go right back over there. And it was just it was watching capitalism work without being poisoned by corporatism. It was it was the community taking care of itself through a business. It was beautiful. I love Market Basket. I love the prices. I love the food. I will always shop at Market Basket. I actually moved out of a bigger city that had more opportunities back to my hometown just so I could shop at Market Basket because I only had Stop and Shop.
God damn, that's wild. Whatever happened to freaking Kmart? Jesus, I miss Kmart. I think they're dead now. Hey, we got Kmart VRC though. Hey, shout out to Kmart.
I mean, that's
Kmart
where it went.
VRC.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the same amount of products in it.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to go shop there, so
that are worth buying.
That leads me to the last and final question. Thank you again for being with us. What devices would you shout out to? Let's say like trackers, headset, everything. What you got? What you got going on? What's your setup?
I haven't had them myself, but I know that EOZ and Tundra are really good if you can get them. We just started doing stuff with Slime, event-wise. You can find us with them on the 25th from now. Slimes are really good. They are, I don't know how to speak to this, but in my point of view, they're very community-based. We have dancers who literally build and solder their own slimes, and they swear by them. Definitely check out VR Cover. We have affiliate links for them. They make custom gaskets and straps and battery packs for Picos, Indexes, MetaQuests. You know, I don't know about the Pro, but the 2 and the 1, the 2 and the 3. We, you know, take a look at Rebuff Reality. Their track strap pluses are pretty good. But I will say, buy some Velcro and sew it on. That's gonna be a thing. Get dongles. You want your fingies. Index knuckles work very well with everything.
I got mine. You're right. We'll drop your links.
I brute force face torture devices, so I'm probably not the best person to ask about what the best products are. But if you go to our Discord and look at our affiliate links, we're slowly building it into a new user ecosystem, so it's kind of a funnel, so you don't have to look around too much. But there's a lot of different options in a lot of different places for straps, trackers, headsets, full body solutions, and just general quality of life things. And I think if you go look at the affiliate section in our Discord, whether you use it or not, you'll get an idea of framework of where these things exist, and then you can hit Google and Amazon and Newegg and start, you know, price pinching and doing all of that good stuff.
Well, I'll make sure to drop the Discord link so they can get access to all that stuff, all the good stuff, all the discounts. Well, Skoot, thank you, really a thousand times for this, for coming here and giving us your time. Until next time.
Cool.
Any last words? I'll give you the last final minute. Shout outs.
We love our... Alright, we're gonna do a couple quick shout outs, I guess, real fast. So, where is... So, first and foremost, Luxor. They're a UNA community. We love them very much. Run by Atcom and Lolly-sama. Great place to meet people. Did this man just crash on me?
No, I'm good. Am I good? I'm good. Sorry, I was saying the camera's out that way. Am I good? I'm still here? Or no? I guess I did crash. I'm reconnecting though. God damn it. In the middle of the thing too. That just happened. Okay.
Welcome back.
Alright. I'll just keep that in there
just
too.
to blast through it.
Go ahead.
If you're still recording. Luxor. I'm just going to go down our partner list. So Luxor for sure. They're really inclusive. They've been a staple in the community, and they've been a huge benefactor of ministry. Definitely check out Rift VR. Aztec Angelo does a great job with his community and his team to give as many opportunities to people to come party as possible. Reflections, we haven't done much with them because we have our own resources now going back and forth, but Zia puts in a lot of hard work to her worlds. Definitely check out the Oasis. It's a great hub. Castle puts in a lot of work, and so do all the communities there. Hypothetical is fantastic. Skippy and his team do a lot for their instances, for their DJs and their staff. Obviously, anyone that's a bigger fish is going to have negatives about them, us included, but you know, if it's coming from me, I'm telling you that they're worth your time. More than that, Schism, Senor Queef is a fantastic event runner. That's the community done through, you know, Queef, Thrill, and Fia. Obviously some bigger names, but I've never once gone to an event and ever seen them relax no matter what, and that's another reason why I said earlier, nobody, you know, the real ones know that none of us are shit because there's a lot of work to be done. Anyone who says, I'm that guy, probably isn't that guy. And Schism is fantastic. They're Quest compatible. Rift is Quest compatible. And now the Oasis 2.0 is Quest compatible over at the Oasis. Cybar is a great RP community. They have actual hospitality training for their staff. They have a butler helping their bartenders. It is a very invigorating experience. And if you're interested in dancing, then I definitely recommend you check out our partners at VRD, which is VR Dancing. It's a great way to get exercise, learn about dancing, become a dancer, learn tips and tricks about different things to do with your trackers and whatnot. Past that, please check out Temple. Also can be found in our partner section. They also run by Faceless. That would be done by The Blind Prophet. They do ciphers, history lessons on dance, you know, from sea to shining sea. 30 years worth of knowledge crammed into that team. And then finally we have the Dreamwalkers, which is run by Loki from Loki Records. If you Google them or check them on YouTube, you'll know exactly who we're talking about. They do the IRL shows, make their money through their merch, blah, blah, blah. They love their community. They didn't come to VR because they want to grow with VR. They came to VR because they already have a community. They have their fans and they love them to the point where they came here, got to work. They don't care about growing. They care about giving their existing fans something worth enjoying, that they don't have to charge them for. And VR is a perfect way.
Oh my god. VR is a perfect way. Go. You were saying
Yeah,
VR is a perfect way. There you go.
Yeah, VR is a perfect way for them to give to their community and to their fans. It's a great way for them to, so they literally make worlds off of their albums, so that way their fans can show up and walk through their favorite songs. So definitely check out the Dreamwalkers. They're fantastic. And also, more VRAM is better, more threads is better, faster isn't better when it comes to VR chat. I have a $5,000 system because of filming in VR. A $800 system will do just fine for your experience. Don't let someone talk you into dropping $4,000 just to be here. You don't need to.
Oh yeah. That's where I was. That's where I am. Well, Skoot, oh my gosh, you are the one. That was a drop and a half. That was insane. You are the squad. You are the squad star. You are the shining star.
Promotions.
Promotions. All right, well let's end this one with a big old fist bump and a high
Before it crash again.
All right. Yeah. Back up here. We can take a shot of our ending. All right, thank you so much, Skoot. Until next time.
We love latency.
It was great having you. Thank you again. Hey guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a huge like. Go ahead and subscribe so you guys know when my next content is out, as soon as it is available. And yeah, this video took a couple of weeks to make, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys did. Comment on what you think I should do next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.